Welcome to So and So, brought to you by Bernina Made to Create. I'm Meg Goodman, and you're about to enjoy a casual conversation with a special member of the sewist and quilting community. A conversation about how they got started, what inspires them, what excites them, and their connection to this community. Our guest today is Terrance Williams of Terrance Williams Designs in Dallas, Texas. Born in Pennsylvania, he attended the University of Delaware and graduated with a bachelor's in political science with a concentration in global studies and a triple minor in African studies, Asian studies, and women's studies. Considering law school, Terrance decided to pursue his dream of being a fashion designer. He is a self-taught sewist who learned how to sew in 2010. He founded and now runs Terrance Williams Designs, where he designs and sews ethically sourced and sustainably produced clothing and accessories. Everything is genderless and size inclusive. Terrance Williams, welcome to So and So.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's so great. There's so many wonderful things that I know you have to share with us today, and we're going to jump in and talk about the fact that you are a self-taught sewist. Tell us how you did this and who inspired you.
Yes, so I taught myself how to sew when I was still in college, and I had always been really interested in fashion and fashion design. I loved poring over the pages of Vogue magazine and learning about the designers. I loved Marc Jacobs. I loved everything that was happening at Dior and Versace. And I just grew a love and appreciation for looking at style and fashion. And then it grew from just looking at the fashion to wanting to create the fashion. But I was unfortunately a very broke college student and couldn't afford anything designer. So I said, I'm going to teach myself how to sew and I'll make the fashion and the designs myself. So I had been sketching in a sketchbook for a while and I told my family I want a sewing machine and I want to teach myself how to sew. I really want to pursue fashion and make clothing because I was very interested in how things were put together and different fabrics and techniques. And so it was all just very, very interesting to me. And my sister, for Christmas, bought me my very first sewing machine and a gift card to Joann's. And then, as they say, the rest is history. And I've been sewing ever since.
That's a good sister to have. That's
Yes,
great.
I always say she believed in me and saw the vision before I did myself. She has been my biggest supporter and cheerleader, and she's really helped me support-wise along this process. So, very grateful for her.
Well, when you were learning to sew, what's the first thing you ever made?
The first thing I ever made was a tank top, and it was a disaster. I had tank tops in my collection. I thought that would just be the easiest. So I had tank tops in my collection. I didn't use a pattern or anything. So I just traced out a tank top. And then with the gift card that I had at Joann's, I walked in and I asked, where is the 100% cotton? Because when I looked at the tag on my tank top, it said 100% cotton. And me being very early in my sewing career, I didn't know the difference between, a quilting cotton and a knit and,
Mhm.
all these different things. I just thought, oh, this I'll figure it out. So when I asked the woman at Joann's where the 100% cotton was, she pointed me to the quilting cotton section. And so I bought a bunch of quilting cotton, took it home, made my tank top, and I could not get in it.
Oops.
it was it was a struggle to get that thing on.
Do you still have it?
I do. I do still
Uh,
have it. It's in my storage unit. Yes.
uh-huh. Kind of a reminder of where you started, right?
Yes, yes. I think we've almost all been there where we get
Mhm.
our fabric calculations wrong and yeah, it doesn't turn out how we thought it would.
Now you were considering law school, but you decided to pursue sewing and creating as your dream. What was it that called you to do this?
When I was in college, I had done everything. I had joined Phi Alpha Delta, the pre law fraternity. I was on the newspaper. I was on the dean's list. I was taking so many credits every semester, every winter session, every summer session. I was learning. I studied abroad in Ghana. I actually finished my major, my poli sci major early, and I could have graduated like a year and a half early. But instead of graduating early, I decided to add more minors and a concentration just so I could finish out the last few years of my college education. So that's how I became an Asian studies minor and a women's studies minor and an African studies minor. And I was just exhausted. And I started sewing when I was a junior in college, and I fell in love with creating clothing. And that love of creating clothing became more of my passion and my obsession than learning and having to go to law school. I
Mhm.
took the LSAT, I got into the Drexel Law School summer program, and I just decided not to go because I really wanted to pursue fashion. And I wanted to do international law. So I wanted to help refugees and asylum seekers and immigrants seek asylum in different countries. I wanted to, work for the UN. I wanted to do human rights and humanitarian work. There was just so much that I wanted to do, but the thought of having to go to law school for 3 or 4 more years after I have already done, you know, what felt like 6 years of work in college, I just didn't think I would be able to do it. And I spoke to a lot of different lawyers and I said, I'm on the fence about going to law school. And they said, I don't want to dissuade you from going, but I'll give you some real advice. If you are unsure about whether you want to go, do not go because
Mhm.
you will be absolutely miserable. You're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to do well. This is something that you have to 100% know for a fact that you want to do. And so I took that advice and decided to listen to my instinct and my gut and not go and pursue fashion instead.
So, in pursuing that, you began to sew and design ethically sourced and sustainably produced clothing and accessories. Would you explain to us what sustainably produced is, and tell us also about things that are ethically sourced? What is all this?
Yeah, so when it comes to sustainability, there are a few different, 3 or 4 different pillars of sustainability, and it involves a lot of different topics. I think the main thing that when we focus on when it comes to sustainability, specifically sustainability in fashion, it's the environment. How is what we are doing affect the environment? Whether it's animals and their migration crossings, whether it's deforestation, whether it's pollution, waterways, all of those things go into sustainability, specifically with how are we producing clothes, what are our clothes made out of, what resources are we using, and what ways can we implement within fashion in order to make it less intrusive and less difficult on the environment.
Hmm.
Another pillar of sustainability that's really important to me is the human social aspect of sustainability. So that takes into account the human element. So how does it affect people? Specifically, when we look at fashion again, are people being paid fair wages? Are we using sweatshops and slave labor? The majority of people who are manufacturing clothing are Black and Brown people, specifically Black and Brown women. How are we supporting them in an economic sense so that they are able to support themselves, support their family? Are we not doing that? What are the health risks in working with some of these fabrics and working with some of these chemicals? So when you look at sustainability in fashion the way that I do, it's taking all of that into consideration and all of that into effect and producing garments that create the least amount of harm and the least amount of waste. So, specifically for me in my business, I source fabric that is ethical, meaning it's not made in sweatshops, it's not made with slave labor. The people who produce it are paid fair wages. It's also sustainable with the materials that I use, whether it is Tencel lyocell or whether it is visco challis that's certified, whether it is, dead stock material that was once in production that is no longer in production. It usually ends up in landfills or
Hmm.
is incinerated. I like to buy it and produce new things with it so it doesn't go to waste. And again, I think it's really important just to look at the bigger picture of things when it comes to sustainability and overconsumption. Where are all of our clothes going? A lot of the clothes end up washed up on the shore of Accra, Africa, and the beaches are just littered with clothing. And how does that affect people? How does that affect the environment? And just looking at the data and all of the information that goes into it, it's pretty jarring to see how overproduction of polyester clothing can affect everyone at a broader scale. So
Mhm.
really trying to find ways to limit waste, reuse what we have, and make it so that everyone has a safe future because we only get one Earth and we have to do what we can to protect it as much as we can.
Indeed. Terrence, I can't help but hear in how you explain this that all the things that you wanted to do from law school as a lawyer, you are doing today just in following your dream. It just looks a little bit different.
Yes, and that's one of the kind of exciting or like saving graces of my journey. When I decided to change my mind, I was disappointed that I wasn't going to be able to help people the way that I wanted to, but I knew that pursuing this path and doing it sustainably, I might not be in the courtroom advocating for people and fighting for justice reform and things like that, but I could do it through my fashion, I could do it through my brand, I could do it through my messaging. And so I truly feel that I'm still helping people and I'm still um, pursuing the dream of change. I'm just doing it in a different way, in a different
Mhm.
format.
As others might want to follow this path of ethically sourced and sustainably produced items, how can they do that? And what do they have to know? And where do they go to learn it?
Yeah, there are so many ways to learn about taking steps to be sustainable and sustainable fashion. I think the most important thing, though, is to realize that there is no perfect way to be sustainable. It's all about reducing your consumption and consuming less. And I always say, if you shop fast fashion, you're not going to be demonized by me by it, but you shouldn't be going out and doing like $500 Shein hauls and, buying in excess. Buy
Mhm.
what you can and buy what you need to and wear it until you can't wear it anymore. And then when you can't wear it anymore, fix it, mend it, so that you can wear it again. And I
Mhm.
truly feel that that is the best way. You don't need to get rid of all of your plastic straws, and you don't need to compost and change everything to bamboo. It's the little things that you can do. Again, reducing your consumption when it comes to fast fashion, recycling, little things that you can little ways that you can change your habits in order to be more sustainable.
And of course, people can always reach out to you for more advice, and we'll tell them at the end of this podcast how to do that. Let's talk about the fact that you're a Minerva Fabric Ambassador. You developed your own fabric line with them, drawing and designing 10 different prints and patterns that are now available across their 70 plus different base cloths. First of all, how do you become a fabric designer?
Well, I kind of lucked into it. Honestly, I have always wanted to have my own fabric line of designs that I drew. And I had become a Minerva Ambassador and I had been working with them for about a year, a little over a year. And I reached out to them about another opportunity. And they actually said, well, we have this opportunity for you. We would love to collaborate with you on a fashion line or a fabric line. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, perfect. Because I had taught myself digital illustration on my iPad. So I had been sketching and drawing and I just didn't know the best way or best avenue to get my prints out in the world. And then this opportunity presented itself. And I said, oh my gosh, this is absolutely perfect. So we worked on the collection for almost a year, going back and forth, drawing, sketching, coming up with ideas, really refining the process. And then it was put out into the world and it was absolutely amazing. The reception was beautiful. Seeing everyone's designs and how they interpret the fabric and what they use it for, it's just been so exciting to see that my sketches from the iPad have been printed onto fabric and now being made into clothing. It just is such a surreal
Mm,
experience. But advice to anyone is, teach yourself digital illustration. That is the first step, or just teach yourself how to draw. And then you can actually work with a company called Spoonflower. They do print on demand fabric. So you can actually upload your designs. Artists and graphic illustrators and designers upload their designs to Spoonflower, and then you can get it printed on any of their base cloths, any of their, bedding, their wallpaper. So that is a great way to start. And you can order samples of your stuff to see how it looks and
mm,
the color and the sizing. I think that's an easy entry way in order to come out with your own fabric line. And then
mhm,
from there, you can expand and probably work with different brands and do brand deals. But
mm.
yeah, Spoonflower is probably the easiest way to get involved.
Okay. So, what was the inspiration for your fabric line?
It was all about sustainability and nature. So, of course, but I didn't want to do it too on the nose. I wanted to do it kind of in an interpretive way. So, the collection is broken up into three mini collections. The first collection is all like blues and whites. So, it's very calm, very serene, very aquatic. It kind of, the inspiration was the blue and white buildings and the water in Greece. So that is that inspiration for the collection. The second mini collection is all earth tones. So we have a lot of terracotta and burnt oranges, and we have a lot of celestial things. And that obviously is inspired by sand and the dunes and the desert and just, rocks and clay and earthy tones. And then the last mini collection is all really bold, fun, colorful prints. And they are these huge kind of oil spill prints that are very bright. We have like neon pinks and oranges and purples and like these deep sea blues and like sky blues all mixed together. I wanted pieces in the collection that reflected me, really bold, really loud, really colorful, but then also pieces in the collection that were approachable. So if you are not really into really bold, colorful prints and patterns, there was still something in the collection for you that you could gravitate towards that might push your style limits a little bit and make it a little more fun. So there's a little something for everyone, and I think every piece in the collection truly is a reflection of me and my style and what I stand for.
Do you have examples of this on your website?
I do. I do. Yes. On my website, on my Instagram, on the Minerva website, I try to do recaps whenever anyone posts pictures or anything. I try to do recaps and show everyone's style and design and how they use the fabric so other people can get inspired. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of content out there of the collection.
Good. Now, along the line of giving back, you contribute 5% of your revenue to Stripe Climate. Tell us about this group and what they do and why it's important to you to support their efforts.
So it was important for me to do this because I didn't just want to talk about sustainability. I wanted my business to actually do sustainable actions. So, yes, 5% of the sales from my business go to Stripe Climate, and they are doing sustainable actions such as removing carbon from the atmosphere. And so far, we've donated close to $13,000 to Stripe Climate, and that goes to organizations that are doing sustainability efforts. And these organizations are amazing. They do so much, whether it's beach cleanups and doing research, whether it is taking carbon, putting it through some type of process in order to make cement bricks or concrete bricks or pavement. It's stuff that is beyond my pay grade and my
Hmm.
understanding, because they're breaking things down to the molecular level and they're doing all these processes, but it's just amazing that they can take something that is kind of polluting the environment and making the earth's temperature go up
Hmm.
and up and up every year, and turn it into something that's sustainable, turn it into something that's usable. And so every year they pick a new kind of graduating class of, of, of businesses and entrepreneurs and movers and shakers in the sustainability, and give them grants in order to continue their research, in order to keep us safe and in innovative and creative ways. And I really appreciate it because there's nothing extra that the customer has to do. It's not like the
Hmm.
customer is contributing 5%. It's, you go to the website, you pay for something automatically. Instead of that 5% going into my pocket, it goes to
Hmm.
the Stripe Climate Fund. So it's just an easy, seamless process for everyone involved.
So let's talk about when you create. You prioritize inclusivity, and I'm going to quote you here, where every silhouette and style is designed to embrace all bodies and identities, celebrating diversity in every form. Tell us more about this.
It was really important for me for my brand to be inclusive, because I know, as a Black, gay, feminine man, how how it can be difficult in the fashion industry to be included. And so for me, I wanted everyone to feel included. That's why everything is genderless. That's why everything is size inclusive. I wanted people to feel like they were accepted, and they are accepted. And so everything on my website, when it comes to the clothing, is made to order with your sizing information. So it's made custom for you. So it doesn't
Hmm.
matter if you are 6 foot and you're a 2X. It doesn't matter if you're 5'1" and you're an extra, extra small. Everything is geared towards you and your body. And it was important for me to make it genderless because I truly don't feel that there is a gender in fashion. It's just woven material and
Hmm.
different silhouettes and different patterns. If you feel comfortable in a t-shirt and jeans, that's your style. If you feel comfortable in a dress, that's your style. For me, it was all about making people feel comfortable in their own skin, making people feel special in my designs. So many times I get messages and emails from people from the plus size community who say, when I go shopping, I can never find anything pretty. I can never find anything flattering. But with your designs, your dusters, your caftan dresses, I finally feel beautiful. I finally feel amazing. And I just want to thank you for that. And for me, that's what it's about. It's those moments right there that are really important to me, making people feel special, making people feel beautiful, making people feel included.
Terrence, what's your biggest challenge?
I would say everything is my biggest challenge.
Okay.
I think my biggest challenge recently has been getting back to my business and starting over. I last year suffered a really horrendous tragedy. I was out on My morning run, the same morning run that I had done for 5 years, and a man that I don't even know, who I had never met before, never spoken to before, said to me, "This is going to be the last day that you see me." And then 4 minutes later, he pulled out a gun and he shot me on the running trail in the middle of Dallas at nine
Mm.
o'clock in the morning. Um, it was so surreal and so strange. He shot me in my leg and then he shot me in my arm. And this happened last November, so a little over a year ago. So
Hmm.
I have spent the last year learning how to do everything again. I've been learning how to walk again, use my arm again, sew again. I've been learning how to kind of cope with the trauma, the emotional, physical pain, mental anguish. It's been a very tough year. And then on top of having to deal with that, I lost my mother. She passed away April 1st. So I have happened to having to deal with that trauma. I took a little mini trip to Brazil and I was actually in the back of an Uber car and the Uber driver pulled out a gun and tried to rob me and my friends. And then I found out afterwards that the friends had set up this Uber scheme to try to rob me. So it's
Oh,
been a crazy year. It has been an intense, emotional, crazy year. And I did not know specifically with the ailments in my body, not being able to use my leg and my arm for a really long time, two crucial things to sewing. I
hmm.
didn't know if I was going to be able to get back to it again. And I didn't know if I was going to have the passion or the drive or just physically be able to do it. So to overcome all those obstacles this year, to be where I am at now is amazing. I was in a wheelchair. I had to use a walker. I couldn't even walk or stand or run, let alone use a sewing machine. And so to be at this place with this progress has really been amazing for me. But I think that has been my biggest challenge, overcoming all of the adversities and all of the sorrows and moving forward with my life and still trying to remain happy and positive and an inspiration to people, because that's really what I think my purpose is. My purpose is to inspire other people, whether it's to pursue their dreams or buy a fabric that might be a little out of their comfort zone, or try a nail polish color that's a little too daring, or speak up at their job if they want a raise or they feel like they're being excluded. Like, I really want to empower people to live their life in their truth in the way that they want to. And so that's why I feel like I'm here today. And that's what I feel like my purpose is and my mission is. And I'm going to do it through my brand and my fashion and my voice and my platform. And so trying to keep that energy and that positivity and that motivation has been a challenge, but we take it one day at a time and we're here now.
And how are you doing now?
I take it one day at a time. Today I feel
Uh-huh.
good.
Okay. Okay.
Today
We'll
I
take
feel
that.
good and we take it. Yes, yes.
You were talking about having to come back physically to be able to sew, and then there were the mental challenges on that, and you talked about positivity. Terrence, what did you do mentally or spiritually to be able to get you through some of the dark days?
I really listen to advice from my sister. She, again, has just been my biggest support. I remember years ago, I was going through a really difficult time and I was crying to her. And I said, I don't know what to do. And she gave me some really good advice. She said, I'm going to tell you what you're going to do. You're going to be sad. I'm going to allow you to be sad for one day. You can be sad, upset, angry. You can cry. You can feel sorry for yourself. You can feel bad. I'm only going to give you one day, maybe two. But then after that, you're going to pull yourself up out of bed. You're going to figure out a plan and you're going to make it work. You're going to fix it. You are going to figure out a way to make things happen. And that is how I live my life. I give myself a day or two to be sad, to feel sorry for myself, to be upset. I don't like to look at the world through, rose colored glasses and this, fake positivity. I like to feel my emotions and feel the way that I'm feeling, but I don't allow myself to linger. So I give myself a day or two and then I get up and I say, okay, how are we going to fix it? How are we going to feel better? How are we going to move forward? How are we going to meet our goals? And then I work my butt off to make it happen.
Was this the same sister that gave you the sewing machine?
It is the same sister that gave me the sewing machine. Yes, yes.
Well, we're grateful to her on so many levels. So
Very
many.
grateful for her. Very,
Indeed.
yes.
Were they ever able to apprehend the individual that shot you?
No, so the Dallas Police Department was never able to find the man who shot me, so he is still out there, and it weighs on me very heavily, but
Mhm,
I'm very, very blessed because where I was shot was literally right outside of my house. The walking trail, I literally was 20 seconds away from home.
mhm,
And, last year and this year, I set up a GoFundMe and donations poured in. And so I'm very blessed that I have an amazing community that rallied around me. And I
mhm,
was able to raise enough money to be able to buy a new home. So I was able to move out of that area, move out of that house, and I was able to start all over with a brand new, fresh start in a new place. And so I'm very grateful for that I'm not still in that same area. But
mhm,
it's been difficult, reemerging out into the world knowing that he's still out there. But I truly feel that I am blessed and protected, and karma or justice will come around. It might not come at the time when you want it to or when you expect it to, but I truly believe that one day he will be apprehended and justice will be
mhm.
served. I truly believe that.
Indeed. Let's talk about a couple things that bring you great joy. One is Britney Spears, and the other is the Dallas Farmers Market. And
Yes.
I love this. Why Britney Spears and why the farmers market? What calls you to these things?
I am a lover of music, specifically pop music. Anything that just makes me get up and dance and sing and feel good. And growing up for me, that was Britney Spears. I still remember watching Baby One More Time and having the Dance Grooves VHS tapes that my sister got me for Christmas. And I would learn all of her choreography and watch her music videos. And I just related to her so much, even though we're two completely different people living two completely different lives. I really just related to her because she had such a fun, bubbly personality, and listening to her in interviews, she just wanted the best for everyone. She just wanted everyone to really respect her and her craft, but she never put anyone down. She, never made fun of anyone. And she really believed in herself against all odds. Everyone would make fun of her and spread rumors about her and gossip about her the same way that they did me. And yet she still chose to lead with love, light, positivity, and happiness. And that's how I wanted to live my life. And then as I got older and she got older and the music changed and the lyrics changed and she started to grow and become an adult and a woman and I started to become a young adult and a man, I really related to just her freedom and her independence and her wanting to discover herself and find herself. And uh, I just resonated with it all, and I still do. And I'm so happy that the Free Britney movement and her conservatorship has ended. And
Mhm,
I wish her all the best and all the well. But that's my childhood. I have such happy memories going to her concerts and listening to her music, and it just brings me joy listening to her. And then as far as the Dallas Farmers Market, it just feels like home. It's just
mhm,
so many small businesses. And as a small business owner myself, I know what it feels like to go out there and wake up and grind and sell and have good days and bad days. And the fact that they show up every day and they, put their best foot forward and just have an amazing work ethic, and they're just so nice. the people at the Dallas Farmers Market, the vendors, the small businesses, some of them have really become great friends and have really checked in on me during my recovery. And I just think it's so beautiful. It just makes me so happy to be able to go out and support small businesses and be in community with other people. And I just love that. And of course, there's so many good things, whether you're into food or, jewelry or baked goods or vintage. There's a little something for everyone at the Dallas Farmers Market. So yeah, it's my happy place.
You can hear the joy in your voice when you talk about both of these, so that's great. What are you working on now?
I am working on orders as always,
That's a
trying to
good
get caught
thing.
up on. It is a good thing. I'm very blessed. I say it all the time. I am so blessed that I get to wake up every day and do what I love. So yeah, I'm working on orders, working on new collections for next year. I'm coming out with a second Minerva fabric collection, so I'm working on that. 10 new prints and patterns that are going to be released next summer. So get excited for that. Expanding Terrance Williams Designs. I want to do more in person events like meet and greets and fabric shopping days. I really want to get out in the community and travel and meet people. I feel like this past year I lost out on so much time with my recovery. So next year I want to take advantage of it all, and I want to do all of it and see all of it and experience all of it. So 2026 is going to be a really good year, really busy, good year.
What's your dream?
Um, I mean, be a billionaire.
Okay, okay.
Obviously, financial success is always the dream, but ultimately, I would love for Terrance Williams Designs to grow and be a formidable force in the sustainability realm when it comes to fashion. I would love to kind of be on the same par as Stella McCartney. Her brand is sustainable, and
Mhm.
she's known for really innovative ways of creating textiles that no one has ever seen before that are sustainable and really respect the earth. And I would love to be on the same level as her as far as being innovative and being seen as a force within the sustainability community and really spread the word and really inspire people to be more sustainable in their fashion choices, not just people, but brands also.
We're gonna keep our eyes on you, Terrence. I have no doubt, that you're gonna be a force in the coming years, and, we're gonna certainly check in with you in the future to catch up and see how things are going. In our conversation today, is there any question I didn't ask you that you wish I had?
No, I don't think so. I think
Okay.
you covered everything. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing so much with us today. It's been so fun to talk to you, and I know our listeners would like to reach out to you. What's the best way for them to do that?
I am on all social media. So Terrance Williams Designs and Terrance Williams underscore. I'm on Instagram and TikTok and Pinterest and Threads and Twitch. And then, of course, my email on my website. Anyone can reach out, DM, message me. Yeah, I'm completely accessible.
Perfect. Terrence, I'm grateful for you and thankful that you're doing well and for all that you do. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate it. It means a lot.
Well, there you have it. Another story about someone just like you. Someone for whom sewing is so much more than a hobby. It's a way of life and a connection to something bigger. If you know someone you think has an outstanding story, a story that should be shared on this podcast, please drop me a note to meg@soandsopodcast.com or just complete the form on our website. Be sure to subscribe to, review, and rate this podcast on your favorite platform and visit our website, soandsopodcast.com, for more information about today's and all of our guests. That's SEWANDSO podcast.com. And finally, I want to thank Brittnay for making this program possible. I'm Meg Goodman, and I look forward to you joining us next time on so and so.